Thank you very much, Maciej. Let me only mention that being an honorary member of the International Young Lawyer Association, not doctor, so yeah. But, ladies and gentlemen, it's for me a true pleasure and honor to be here. And let me start with congratulating Maciej Janka and Professor Olasz for putting together this wonderful ICC comprehensive training, but also this opening ceremony today. As Maciej mentioned, the whole course, the whole training is designed for younger generation of lawyers. And when Maciej approached me with an invitation to be part of this opening ceremony and to give an address to the potential and future participants of the course, I thought that I actually will give you something better than this, that I will give you a true perspective to what it takes to develop a career in international arbitration. And for that purpose, I have invited 3 exceptional panelists, the true rising stars of arbitration, international arbitration practice. So let me start the introduction with a lady, Monika Hill. Monika is a counsel with Clifford Chance, and Monika, she came to Kraków from Frankfurt because she is sharing her professional time between Warsaw and Frankfurt, Clifford Chance. Monika has many years of experience representing clients in complex litigation and arbitration disputes, which span in a variety of sectors, including energy, construction, real estate, TMT, and finance. Monika also regularly acts as a counsel in investment treaty arbitrations in the CED region. Monika is recognized as arbitration future leader by Hughes School Legal. She is a co-chair of DILOS Y and of the European subcommittee of the Campaign for German Arbitrations, which I think is a great initiative. Since recently, Monika is also a Polish delegate to the ICC Commission on Arbitration and ER, and she graduated from the leadership program at the Stanford Graduate School. So she's really a well-placed to be here this evening to explain about career in international arbitration. To her right, Maciej Długas. I think Maciej was already mentioned today at this opening ceremony. Maciej is a partner and co-leader of arbitration practice at Kubas Kozłowski, based here in Kraków. Maciej is undoubtedly the dispute resolution expert with experience as an arbitrator, as counsel, as a tribunal secretary, and his focus is in the construction dispute, post-M&A dispute, rolling stock in life science sector. Maciej publishes on international arbitration. He is also frequently a speaker on dispute resolution matters on arbitration conferences. Maciej is also a member of arbitration committee at Leviathan Court of Arbitration, and similar to Monika, he is recognized in several rankings with School Legal Expert Guides transfers. Last but not least, Maciej is a coach of the Jagiellonian University Vis. Last but not least, Tomasz Cyron, my third panelist. Tomasz is an advocate, an arbitrator, mediator, and academic teacher. Tomasz is for years now a member of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, and for several years an officer of the Mediation Committee of the International Bar Association. So his practice covers both arbitration and mediation, and I think that mediation is also his very dear topic. So I hope he will give us also some perspective of this aspect of alternative dispute resolution mechanism. Tomasz is I'm very active as an arbitrator. He has experience in proceedings under ICC, LCIA, VIAC, or leading Polish arbitration institutions rules. And he's a co-author of commentary on the provisions of civil code of proceedings regulating mediation. So the topic of today's panel refers to the career goals. And I believe the long-term career goals of every arbitration practitioner are pretty much the same. We all want to work as counsel on international cases, and we all wish for appointments in large international matters as arbitrators. But I think that each of us had a very different starting points. For me, arbitration was not a first choice in my arbitration career. So it was not my dream to become an arbitrator or even arbitration counsel. And it was a matter of one case which actually brought me into the world of international arbitration. So the question for my panelists: what was the starting or maybe pivotal point in your career in arbitration? What was this entry point for you?
Thank you very much, Justina. I will take the first question, and thank you for having me here. As you mentioned, straight from Frankfurt. So my first choice was also not arbitration. It was international relations. So I started to study international relations at the Warsaw University first. And then together with a group of friends, we decided that we need something more concrete. So we applied to law school and decided to simultaneously study both subjects. And we graduated as a group, and actually majority of these people work as lawyers rather than diplomats. So I think it also carries some meaning. But as I was working my way through law school, I always was looking for some ways for it to be more international and to combine the two topics. And that's how I found my way to moot courts, where I actually met Maciej about like 12 years ago. So I participated in the International Commercial Arbitration Moot Court, the biggest one, the Wismut, and then the Foreign Direct Investment Moot Court. And for the first one, Jagiellonian University always prevailed, whereas for the second one, hopefully Warsaw University also had some success. So that's brought about opportunities with international law firms for internships in Warsaw, and that's how I started when I was still a student. And it allowed me to do real-life arbitration investment cases. Already as soon as I started, we worked on a case against Poland, so it was a super exciting opportunity. And I stayed, and nowadays I also, after these 12 years, managed to make it to the international world, and I work a lot on cases that don't even relate to Poland that much, hence the Frankfurt part. But it was not always that easy. And I think the one point that I would like to share with you all today and to have in the back of your heads for this, as you pursue through this course, is that I had the privilege to have amazing mentors, especially female lawyers who are very established in the arbitration world, that helped me navigate my career. And that's something that I really want you to all to think about as well. That, you know, sometimes it's just not enough to do what you think is good enough, but also to try to find someone that could help you and guide you throughout the process. So that's essentially the both starting and pivotal parts for me.
Excellent. How about you, Maciej?
Thank you, and thank you very much for having me. And indeed, I share this starting point with Monika, because it was also a moot court competition, Wismut, that actually introduced me to the world of international arbitration. Before that, I wanted to be a criminal lawyer, and actually 15 years ago, it's 15 years ago in October, when I was recruited to the Wismut team, and this is when the international arbitration appealed to me, and I will come back to this appealing element. And I started to work in a team representing Jagiellonian University, and then I remained as a coach. And it's a great opportunity. It's great if you do something extra apart from the standard curriculum. Wismut teaches you how to write, how to argue a case. It teaches advocacy. It teaches you legal research, which is sometimes overlooked at Polish universities. And this is an amazing set of skills that will stay with you irrespective of whether you prevail in competition. But let me share some negative aspects of the competition. Well, it gives you false impressions because Wismut, as most of you probably know, requires you to become a counsel in a major, very difficult international arbitration case. And then you go to Vienna or Hong Kong and argue this case before leading arbitration lawyers, the authors of the books you're reading, and people that are partners that are leading international departments of law firms. And then you have false impression that when you start your actual work in September or October, you will be doing precisely that. Well, no, you won't. You will have to work hard, and everyone, each of us, I assume, worked hard to start their career. So this is, I think, a moment when your expectations about this appealing world of international arbitration and the hard reality of everyday work clash. But to sum up, I think that moot courts are great ways to start, and most of the people I know that actually took part in the competition from Jagiellonian University, including Professor Olasz, for instance, well, they don't regret it, and they definitely their skills ameliorated, and their position, their careers is better.
It's exciting, but I'm very glad, Maciej, that you did not pursue your career as criminal lawyer. We are very happy to have you as an arbitration practitioner. Just to follow up on that, my first choice was tax law. Thomas, what was your first choice?
Well, I don't know what my first choice was, but I had like a completely different beginning than my colleagues. When I was doing the Erasmus, when I was in Germany, I took a course called Kommunikationstechnik and Juristen, so communication techniques for lawyers. So I was focused on communication, on talking, on meeting, on connecting people, not on, let's say, on merits of the disputes. So after I graduated university, I focused on mediation. I did postgraduate studies. I was really great fan of negotiation, so I was saving money and asking my parents for help, and they sent me to Boston to spend some time at Harvard to participate in the Harvard negotiation project courses. And that was my, let's say, my main plan, to do something that no one, or maybe not no one, but it's still not common in Poland. And arbitration was not something worse for me. It was like a top notch. I thought I'm smart, I can achieve a lot, but arbitration is still much above my abilities. And when I was, of course, I participated during my bar training, during Applicacja in the first edition of Leviathan Moot Court, but I was focused once again on mediation plus standard daily routine of applicant, so normal cases, average cases in village, car, surrounding towns. And I remember when I did one course on arbitration, but I kept it for later. But I knew only the theory. I remember my obronas, the final exam of my PhD, and one of the members of the commission was Professor Elżbieta Traple, who was not only the professor of civil law, but he was the president of the local arbitration court here in Kraków. And after my exam, I asked her in the kindest way I could, Madam Miss Professor, I was wondering if I could ask you if I could, and so on and so on. Then I said, if there are any options to become arbitrator, and said, oh, Mr. Till, after I heard your presentation, it's obvious that I'd like to have some arbitrators record as you are. Just contact my secretary tomorrow. And I was wondering if she's really serious about it, just kind of saying, like, call my assistant. They called the assistant next day, and then it said, yeah, Miss Professor already said that you'll be calling. Bring the papers, we are on enrolled on the list. I was really happy and lucky that I got my presentation really fast, quickly, and the chair of my panel was Piotr Nowacek, who is really experienced arbitrator, and he was really great teacher, because he explained everything to me, and the other arbitrator was freshman as well, what he's doing, why he's doing. And then I got further nominations, and the first the time I was the chair, my co-arbitrator was Justyna, who was really great supporter, and again, great teacher, great coach, because it was obvious that the co-arbitrator was much smarter, much more experienced than the chair. But we managed it together to run the case. And that's how we went. And then it went on and on. But still, I guess I had more mediations than arbitration cases. But it shows that you can be a lawyer, successful and happy and satisfied lawyer, without need of going to court to the public court every single day.
Point that you can be happy lawyer. It's important, well, interesting to hear that basically each of you have a slightly different career path. And so I see already from our presentations that this career path differs a lot. International firm, large domestic firm for Maciej, or smaller practice for Tomasz. What do you see as the advantages and disadvantages of each of these options?
If I may answer this question by picking up Tomasz's last point about the first case, and coming back to the maybe less appealing reality. So my first case, arbitral case, was as an arbitrator. It was presiding arbitrator, and one of the partners of law firm from Warsaw called me and said, "Listen, I remember you from Wismut. You were, doing arbitration. I think you're okay, and we have a case. And how about you take a role as a chair?" I was taken aback. Of course, I accepted it. It turned out that it was a case for a couple €1,000, but the party's request were 3 pages long. It was a very complicated case, default proceedings, not participating respondent. Well, I learned probably a couple of gray hair working on that case. So it was a very difficult case, especially that, it's the first case you want to impress everyone, etc. And of course, those bigger cases will come with time. And it also relates to your question about the reality of work. Well, I've been only a trainee in a major law firm. I haven't worked in a major international large law firm, because after the Wismut I got an internship in KKG law firm, and I stayed there. But the impression is that you're a part of a bigger team and you have a specific tasks to do. So before you will reach a role that is important, that is your dream to be the first chair in the proceedings, Monica is smiling, so I believe that I'm not that wrong.
That would be challenged though.
So it takes time. The smaller the law firm, the bigger chances that you will have a chance to actually shine and actually become an important part of the team. So was I wrong with the big law firms and the role?
You were a bit wrong. But I guess the impression that you have comes from mainly like major jurisdictions like London or Paris, where I see and I know a lot of people who work there who actually are more, like, as Maciej mentioned, like dedicated to specific tasks before they are able to see the entire case or argue it. And I remember when I did my first cross-examination at a major hearing some years ago. And this partner from London approached me after and said, you have to realize that you're very privileged to be able to do that, because in London that would never happen, because, you know, in London you always, you know, do just a bit of a case, and then either the barrister even from the outside comes and argues the case for you. So I think we are kind of in between the, you know, super big impression international law firm because we are here. So I think it helps us. And actually for our team, even though it was a super international law firm, when I started, the team was not that big. So it was like 10, 12 lawyers. So it was just impossible for the partners or, you know, London partners to handle everything. So it came quite fast for me to do a lot of responsible things. So I guess it depends on the team, and that's something you also have to realize, that you may face a situation where for a number of years you will, you know, just be one of the associates working on a major case, but there are international teams where you can already, as a quite junior person, have a lot of responsibility. So I guess that's a bit relative. But I do think that the work that you can do internationally is of course challenging and demanding and requires a lot of resilience, but it's also rewarding because especially that's kind of what I wanted when I studied international relations, to be able to work on cases that actually change international law. So when it happens, when you're able to work on a case like that, it's rewarding enough to overcome all the struggles of working in a big law firm. And if I may just touch on another kind of disadvantage, not to disagree with you on everything, from the arbitrator's perspective, it's much more difficult because of the conflicts, right? So that's the difference, but that comes later. So I do see a lot of people as they get senior, they simply leave at some point because the conflicts are just impossible, and it's difficult to get arbitral appointments, unlike in a bigger domestic law firm.
You can see that it's actually kind of advantage to be an international arbitration lawyer in Poland.
I will always say that.
Thomas, is it an advantage to be international arbitration lawyer in Poland?
You know, it's a hard work. I'm not in a big international firm, neither in a big Polish firm. I had to do everything myself, and I am doing everything myself. There are some few so-called boutique law firms in field of arbitration, but they are mostly established, opened by people who were partners in big law firms, and then we created something new. Here, my of course, I'm far from those boutique law firms, but I had to establish everything and do it step by step. Recently, one of Polish leading arbitration lawyers who established a year ago, 2 years ago, his boutique, was asked, how is it to run a small firm? I said, oh, I have a lot of technical issues and duties. And the interviewer asked him, oh, but I believe you don't buy the paper to print yourself, don't you? And said, no, that would be too much. And I'm doing it myself. So that brings a lot. It demands a lot, but on the other hand, it has advantages. First of all, freedom. When I always hear from senior advocates that being advocate is being free man. And I do whatever I want. I don't, probably my yearly salary is similar to the money, it's not salary, the money I earn is similar to what Monica earns in a quarter. But again, I'm free, I do whatever I want. I don't have any conflicts. Because if I thought now I work with two bar trainees, I'm sure that they haven't been involved in a case which I'm doing. Plus something which is not common in Poland, and probably lawyers of my age, around 40, I'm the only one who's here, Marek Kowalski, who does the same. We are able, what I did, frankly, first time in my life this summer, but I was asked by my client to play golf with him during the weekday. And we went on Tuesday to spend the whole day playing golf, and it was much more fun than sitting over the laptop and reading the client. So being serious now is going to the point. If you are independent, you have a lot of additional responsibilities. You don't get some cases which you would have in a big law firm because you are not credible enough. Even if someone knows you, he says, okay, but my clients, my partners, they don't know you. So these are the disadvantages and lack of money, lower amount of money you receive. But I do what I want, and that makes me, once again, happy and satisfied lawyer.
Actually, as a former tax lawyer, I'll tell you that in some jurisdictions, the green peas are actually tax deductible. Coming back to the training, which opening of which we are now celebrating. Well, my panelists today have one more thing in common. They all are still currently participating in ICC Advanced Arbitration Academy for Central and Eastern Europe. And I wanted to ask you, what is your takeout from the academy? Was it worth it to participate in this kind of journey?
It was definitely worth it, but we also have another thing in common. We are, I think, all happy lawyers, right? Depending, like different paths, but still happy. About the academy, I think it's this, we call it amongst ourselves, like a course, advanced course in arbitration for aspiring arbitrators or junior arbitrators, so to say. So people who already are appointed, but not that much experienced yet. And for us, it's focusing on Eastern Europe. So it gave us the opportunity to network with our peers from all over the region. So not only Poland, but a lot of people from Romania, the Balkans, the Baltics, Hungary, Czech Republic, and many other countries. And it really is a great knowledge sharing and experience sharing platform. I think it hasn't ended yet. We still have one course to do, but the course is planned in a way that we meet every couple of months throughout the year in a different city in Eastern Europe. And then we, of course, work on a case together. But I think even though it hasn't ended yet, we already see a lot of benefits from this networking, like possible appointments or the ability to refer a case to a lawyer we are familiar with abroad, or recommendations for looking for experts or legal advice. So for the networking part, and I know Maciej is going to talk more about the content, that's really an amazing thing to do. So I would encourage anyone who is eligible to apply for it with a sufficient number of years of experience to definitely do that.
I agree with Monica on everything she said about the networking part and the entourage with the academy. I think from the substantive perspective, it's also very worth it. The course is based on one arbitration proceedings, a very complex multi-party disputes, and we entered the dispute as arbitrators in the initial part, so we have to make a disclosure, make our statement, and then we finish with an award, which, by the way, I haven't prepared it. So it's great because it's it allows you to get hands-on experience on a major case, and also ICC case, which is very peculiar in some aspects, especially the initial phases as to the appointments of arbitrators. So I definitely learned a lot. And combining that with the networking aspect, well, I believe it's great to exchange views on one issue with our colleagues from various jurisdictions. And finally, it might be a bit of a spoiler, but the courses, I believe that the tutor's perspective is also to prepare us for the worst. So we often face challenges that would be very challenging in classic arbitration, like a person appealing during hearing, third party, or default proceedings, recording of hearing surfacing on YouTube. What do we do? Well, I think if we've done all the test cases we've been doing during last month, we will be prepared for everything as arbitrators. So definitely no.
Not the first time when ICC course is hosted by the Legal University. Some years ago, there has already been ICC training at this university, and Tomasz, you have participated in this course at that time.
Yes, I first of all, I agree with everything what Monika and Maciej said about advanced arbitration, which we test together. And what happened here about 10 years ago, I'm not sure if I can say that the same course, the similar course was held, although it was organized by ICC, and Mr. Degenicka, Mr. Jamka, Mr. Sinashpana, they were teachers, coaches here, and I was listening to them, knowing and being nothing about arbitration. I was not sure whether award is a judgment or like an extra judgment, because award is like a prize. I was not sure if challenge is a challenge or not, but I was doing it step by step. I was not hoping to become, as I said, arbitrator. I just wanted to know something about it. But I learned a lot, and then when I got the first cases, I had some kind of background, some issues that first sound strange and sound, let's say, quite standard, and then were familiar. I think that those who are decided to join this course, you did a really great step in your career. You don't know what you'll be doing in the future, because most of you are like final year students or junior layers. Maybe you join big international firm, maybe big Polish local firm, maybe a small firm, maybe you do something about arbitration, maybe not. But even if you'll be like an average, boring advocate or radca prawny, you'll be doing like standard cases. But once you may not say, oh, and how about arbitration? I have like a special knowledge, and it's like, it's something that is really useful and is great. So if I were you, I would do the same. I mean, if I would be like 10 years younger, I'd do the same and join the course with you. So I think that's a great opportunity to learn about arbitration and network. So my tip to you is to take as much as possible from your trainers, and I wish you all the best.
So for those who did not register yet, if you want to be like Tomasz or Monika or Maciej, register now. It's worth it. Thank you very much, and wish you all the best for everything.